All right, guys, we can talk all day about stuff. We'll get on that later. And here with Chuck, y'all are doing a play this weekend at the Princess Theater called The Call.
It's called.
Now, it's all based on a photograph.
Basically, that's correct. When I about 20 years ago, when the picture came available, the one where Pat Dye and Bear Bryant are sitting at the hunting lodge, and there's a bottle of whiskey there.
No.
I think I have heard this rumor that there was whiskey involved.
I'm sure.
And they're sitting there in the hunting lodge and dressed pretty much like Norman is dressed right here. And I thought at that time that would make a good basis for a play.
You thought that then?
I did, as a matter of fact. And I didn't do anything more than think about it at that time. And we needed a play. Bank Street Players is putting this on at the Princess. And we needed a play for this opening our season. This is the first play in our season this year. And we were hunting around for something sports-oriented and really couldn't find anything. And so we finished up our play in 1776, which we did in July. And my wife, who's the president of the Bank Street Players, so this is very convenient for me, she said, well, Chuck's had this idea. We couldn't find anything that fit the ticket. She said, Chuck's had this idea. Let's just let him see if he can write something. And I did. I spent a couple of weeks, wrote the play, and they all liked it. We had a read through and did all that sort of stuff. And then we decided we would do it. And we started looking around to cast it.
But now let me stop you. At
Sure.
this time, you never heard of, you did not know Norman Roby.
I did not know Norman Roby. Now, you can't not have heard of Norman Roby in
we've all heard
Decatur,
stories.
Alabama. I mean, now,
There's many stories.
personally, Carol and I had not met Norman. And so,
Pitiful.
it was our loss. But we hunted around. We were asking, who can do this? Because, you can't just trot out anybody
to be Bear
try to
Bryant.
be Bear Bryant. I mean, this is such an iconic figure.
John Voight wasn't available.
Well, and I don't think, I'll be honest with you, John Voight has nothing on this man. So what happened was, somebody suggested Norman, and so, and as they say, I didn't know Norman from Adam's Off Ox at the time, but I didn't mind sending him the play, so I did. And he sent me an email back and said he was very interested in it and wanted to meet for lunch and talk about it. So Carol and I met Norman at a restaurant, and we sat there. Norman sat down across from us, and he started talking. First of all, he walked in.
Yeah.
And was, yeah. And so then he started talking to us, and after about 30 seconds, no longer,
Really?
Carol and I looked at each other and said, yep, we have Bear Bryant here. And absolutely the case.
Well, Norman, why, being a huge
Unearthed.
Auburn fan, huge. Oh, now, I know that your daughter-in-law is Billy Neighbors' daughter. Great Alabama legend. We were at the wedding, as a matter of fact.
Claire, yes.
Bear Bryant?
First of all, Chuck, being the writer and the producer of this thing, sort of exaggerated that whole story. What it boiled down to was that I was the last old big guy. I was the last old big guy in Decatur that could remember his name.
And wanted to do it.
And so that was the reason I got the part, yeah. But no, I grew up in this era.
Right.
I finished high school in '63. I had a very good friend that played on that '61 team that won the first national championship. My wife is from Tuscaloosa. She's a big Alabama fan. My daughter-in-law is part of Alabama royalty. My other daughter-in-law is a big Alabama fan. And I just admired Coach Bryant. I always have. He was, no matter who you for. If you're a Notre Dame fan, they got pictures of Bear in the bars in South
They beat us
Bend.
every year.
I've been there. And so he sent me this script, and I've never been in any kind of play in my life. I told Chuck I was the
Best man.
I was best man in a Tom Thumb wedding when I was 5 years old in kindergarten. That was my last time on stage. And but this script just really captures a great icon. And I don't think it's going to be entertaining for anybody because it tells a story.
How much practice do you have to do to get this thing fine-tuned?
We met for lunch and they were talking about it, and I said, well, when will we do this? In the spring sometime? They said, no, we're going to
Next
do it in
week.
3 weeks. We're going to be doing
It was
it
4 weeks. It was 4
4
weeks
weeks.
at that time.
At least you had time.
Huh?
At least you had plenty of time.
So, you know, that really got me, but it's just a great script. I mean, it really captures this man. And I didn't know him. I'd met him, and I'd been around him a couple of times. But it tells the good, and it tells the bad.
Now, correct me on this if I'm wrong. Didn't he die right after this?
Well, after the play is set.
I mean, Bear, not Norman. Bear
Right.
died. I mean,
I didn't die.
And he's doing really well
he
for
died a
that
couple
guy.
of months after this, didn't he? After that
He
photograph?
died within a month. It was January of
I thought he died
1983.
in March, or was it February?
Well, I was thinking it was January. I'll go back and look.
Maybe it was
I
January.
think it
I remember
was
exactly where I
January.
was.
He didn't, because don't you know, that's why we all,
There's a picture of me with Bear down in Birmingham, I think at Legionville.
you got the same haircut.
Of course, I was a famous porn star back in those days, it looks like. Look at that.
You
But,
improved.
I think it was January he died, but so it was right after the photograph. was
And the
taken.
thing was, is that so many people, I remember, the thought was he was so tied to this institution of Alabama football that when he retired,
His life was over.
it was like his life was over. I mean, you really felt that at the time. Now, maybe that's why he
And
retired.
that comes out in this play.
Yeah.
I mean,
And when it's set, and you say it's set, then yeah, it says January of '83, but this is what we call a memory play.
Okay.
He's sitting there at the lodge. That's how the play is set. And he's basically remembering his life. And he starts out and he's talking. Apparently he does drink whiskey during the play. This does happen. I'm just wondering if anybody's concerned
wonder
about
you
that.
wanted it.
And so then the events and the people start showing up. His mama, Ida Mae Bryant, him as a young man wrestling the bear, Mary Harmon, his wife, as a young college student, and then she's always young in his memory. So when
Right.
she comes back, Namath shows up, Stabler, Pat Dye. We end up the play with both of them kind of recreating that. And so you're not really certain, I think, and at least in my mind, that he's even here, that it's a memory or who's gone.
Now, what time and how can people get tickets to go to that?
Well, okay, thank you. That's a good question, Jamie. I can see that you're a seasoned reporter.
Yeah.
And
Season.
No, I'm just trying to rush you, but go ahead.
okay, right. So to get to the point, then it's this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. This Thursday, 22nd through the 24th at 7 p.m. at the Princess. There's also a 2:00 matinee on Saturday. And the tickets are easy. It's $10, general admission. You can do the math right away about it. And that, by the way, is a very inexpensive ticket these days for any kind of theatrical performance. So it's general admission, which means, by the way, that there's no reserved seating. Don't call the Princess. They're
Get
not
there and
reserving
get
a
a
ticket.
seat.
Get there, pay your $10, take your chances, and get a seat. And get there early. The Princess is a big place, but then the further back you get, you won't be able to see Norman in action as clearly, and anybody else. But there's
Norman
a good,
needs to be in action now.
well, he's
I
in
got
action in this play. But the thing is I think that this play has generated a lot of interest. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
I
that's
saw it in
awesome.
the catering. I've had
Yeah.
it cut out for like
Right.
2 weeks. Norman, what's it like playing Bear Bryant? Does that make you want to switch over to be a Bama fan?
No, Gus Malzahn has more to do with that.
But now, you brought up something a while ago when Billy was alive and got
Yeah.
inducted into the Hall of Fame and everything. Y'all went through a bunch of all this stuff with
Oh,
Billy
yeah.
Neighbors.
Yeah.
Your daughter-in-law is Alabama royalty,
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely, Claire.
and yet
Yeah.
you're an Auburn fan.
yeah.
Were
And
you
they
out
all
of
get
place?
along.
You went to all these places with him?
No, they were very nice. I got to be real good friends with Mal Moore and a lot of the coaches down there. And, Wes has got 2 boys on the coaching staff down there now. And I've learned to live with people,
Wes has got both his boys are on the
Both of
coaching
them.
staff down
Yeah.
there? Connor over there too?
Yeah, Connor went back and he's working with
Really?
Cochran in the strength and conditioning.
My son used to play ball with both of them.
Yeah.
He didn't
Good
work
for
out as good as
them.
they did, obviously, but yeah. Well, Norman, it's great to see you. I know you still have a lot of animosity to me for stealing your sales manager, but
Well, I don't know. I thought that she could do some missionary work and straighten you out. Apparently she has.
She gone, I might have gone
I think
later.
she's done a good job.
I do want to thank you for calling me that day to come
goodness.
over about Telestar. Only thing I got to ask you is one last question about that. How do you spell satellite?
I have no idea, but I know you don't either.
Well, I'm the one that caught it. But tell Patsy I asked that one question. But I'm sorry you're missing your Bible study group this morning with Wally Terry, because I know y'all meet
They're
every
gonna
Tuesday
miss you.
morning.
Every Tuesday morning at 6:30.
For how many years now?
Probably 30 by now.
And I mean about 20 guys.
Yeah. We got guys coming from Huntsville.
Huntsville, yeah. I appreciate y'all letting me join y'all that
Open
day.
invitation.
Open invitation.
You tell them I said hello when y'all see them, and good luck this weekend. If y'all can hang around a few minutes after we do this interview with Jan, I'd like to get a few photographs before we head out of here this morning.
You can
all
have
right?
one,
And we'll plug this all week for you the rest of the week. To Norman, great seeing both of y'all. Chuck, you up. And the big cat, that the rat thing was a good answer,
You
too.
like that one.
Let me take a break. We'll come back to Dr. White. Y'all hang on.